Spider-Man, Spider-Man, just saw Spider-Man coming into the Spider-Verse. It was good, really good. Other things that are really good. It's Spider-Man, Enter the Spider-Verse. So, except for one review apparently I've heard, this movie's got 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the one guy who gave it a negative review said he gave it a negative review because he didn't like the animation style. Now, if he didn't like it because of simply for the animation style, and that's it, look, it's subjective, but is just not liking the animation style enough to give it a negative review? I feel that's a little petty. I really, really like this movie. I don't know if I can say I love this movie, but it's a damn good movie. And let's get the little bit I had a minor issue with out of the way right now. I kind of get where that guy was coming from a little bit when they're talking about the animation, because it's not even shot. It's the animation style is unique because you get the traditional CGI kind of stuff that we've been getting. I mean, good CGI. The effects, it looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. The colors pop like that. But it's shot almost like they were gonna go for 3D in certain spots, and like the colors kind of like strobe up. If you ever take off your glasses during the 3D experience, you get those like extra three-dimensional like bars of the thing that's being thrown at your face. That kind of shows up here and there in the film, and there's shots that are blurry that you're thinking, is that supposed to be 3D? But most of those are just really quick and out of the way. But to be fair, if someone did, like this guy said, I'm not certain I like the animation or I didn't like the animation style. Well, first off, the overall, that's not the majority of the animation style. The majority of the animation style is kind of just standard like animation. It's really good animation too, something kind of like akin to The Incredibles almost, if not a little better. But if someone were to tell me I didn't like the animation in this, I can see where they're coming from, because it is very bright, colorful, but when the action sequences hit, a lot of it's fast-paced, quick action. I mean, you can see the majority of it too, but there is some sporadic shit going on in this movie that I'm like, holy crap, good luck paying attention to this in some scenes. Like, particularly the climax where the whole plot is taking place in the universe of Miles Morales and Spider-Man. And the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, has a Hedron Collider, and he's using it to basically, yeah, I might as well get into spoilers. Essentially, he's using it to cross dimensions so he can, and this is going to go into one of the many pauses I'm going to bring up in the film, to bring his wife and son back to life. I'm like, oh shit, because they brought his, like, and he's got Vanessa, but he also had a kid with her. They were married, and they found out he was the Kingpin who was going to kill Spider-Man, and he lost them. They were killed after they tried to flee from him, and his mission is actually really sad when you think it's like, he just wants his wife and kid back. I'm like, look, say what you will about what he's doing, and doesn't really care about the consequences. We can relate to that. I mean, Peter wants MJ back, yeah, and one of the Peters wants MJ back, because they're divorced, and he lost Aunt May. So when they go to see Aunt May again, that Peter's interaction scene, because I was wondering how they're gonna. I thought they were doing it really well, because he's not like, oh May, oh god. No, this is Spider-Man, who the Peter Parker we get him interacting with the majority of the time. It's a kind of past his prime Spider-Man a little bit. Not past his prime. That's not a good way to put it. He's a down on his luck Peter Parker. He's out of shape. He's got a gut now. He lost Aunt May. He made bad investments. He got divorced from MJ. So he's definitely a bit more cynical. But he's also still Spider-Man. They've been doing a lot of. That wasn't the word sentence I was trying to do. He's still Spider-Man. Spider-Man has always been dealing with a lot of world-ending crises and things along those lines. A lot of losses in Spider-Man's story. So it's something that it makes sense why he would react. He's still happy to see Aunt May, even though it's not his Aunt May. But it makes sense why he's not like breaking down everything. It's the fact that he's seen death so much in his life now that he can just be like, he's still happy to see her. But it's like it's good to see you, May. And anyway, Miles Morales gets bitten. And here's the thing: there's actually two different. See, this they did a great job of not showing this in the trailer. The we actually see Spider-Man get killed in this movie. The Spider-Man that is actually originally in Miles Morales' universe, which technically speaking, is that supposed to be the Ultimate Universe? I can't remember. It's not. It's its own kind of entity. The Spider-Man we see is not the Spider-Man that you actually see in the trailers most of the time. The Spider-Man you see in the trailers is, like I said, that down on his luck Spider-Man. The Spider-Man that we actually get in the beginning of the movie before Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man is like his dimensions Spider-Man. He's blonde too, but he's the Spider-Man who's loves to do Spider-Man, is like the perfect Spider-Man. The Spider-Man. He's even got a spider cave, like a bat cave. He's got all his gadgets and a row of suits and everything. I watched that, I'm like, that's kind of silly, but then again, there's so many alternate versions of Spider-Man that I'm watching this like, you know what, I could buy this. This makes sense. And Aunt May apparently knew it, and we know Mary Jane knew it. So, and I knew for a fact that that was not our Spider-Man because I'm listening to that guy's voice, and the Spider-Man that we see in the trailers and the mainstay, Spider-Man. There we go. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I know his name. It's bothering me why I can't guess, and that's why I'm getting the IMDb up right now. Let's see here now. Peter Parker, Jake Johnson. That's it. Yeah, I'm like, okay, no, that's not Jake Johnson. No, it's Chris Pine. They got Chris Pine. I'm like, I'm listening. It's like, is that Chris Pine? I'm pretty sure it's Chris Pine. And then I realized, and then I made sure to stay to make sure it was Chris Pine. Yeah, it was Chris Pine. And after hearing that, I'm like, I could totally have an animated movie of Chris Pine as Spider-Man. Because his voice really matched Spider-Man. From when I was hearing him, I'm like, that's Spider-Man. Honestly, if you want to do an older Peter Parker in a movie at some point, Chris Pine is not a bad option, honestly. But we got Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's great. And then you have, let's see, Shameik Moore plays Miles Morales. Haley Steinfeld's the Spider-Gwen, who we get introduced to early, and I was wondering if we were getting two Gwen Stacy's in this universe, but no, it's the fact that she got caught in the universe prior and was looking for information, and then she, she went undercover as a school and met Miles Morales. Spider-Man Noir, played by Nick Cage, that was fun. How he's like, is he in black and white? And where's the wind? We're in a basement. This cube, or is this purple? Because he's black and white. He's like looking at a Rubik's cube, like, is this blue, purple? It's like, I'm making this cube thing. I don't understand it, but I will. And of course, the amazing Spider-Ham was just that. All of them were and I can't remember the other one too. What was it? Penny Parker, the anime one. They were all just really just fun, great. They were all great characters, but it's still Miles Morales' story. First and foremost, it is about the origin of this Spider-Man, of how he comes to be. And it's told really well because it's told he has his own tragedy. He loses his uncle, Uncle Aaron, who is the Prowler, I believe. Let's see here. Uncle Aaron. Yeah, who's voiced by Mahershala Ali, of all people. He's having a good year, you think? Mahershala Ali voiced Uncle Aaron, who's the Prowler, who's pretty badass, by the way, as an actual Spider-Man, at least in this context. I don't know how. I've never actually read any of the books with him in it, but he's pretty good in this one. In terms of the character. And we see, and here's the thing, is that in the Spider-Man who is initially in Miles' universe before he dies, you get the impression for a little bit that, was this the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? I think even the director said they may have gone with his voice initially, but they thought it may have confused people. But because they do the upside down kiss, they do the whole the train sequence, They do. They reference the Spider-Man 3 dancing thing. That was a thing. We don't like to talk about it. But you can tell that, no, it's kind of its own separate universe because, Kingpin was never in the Tobey Maguire movies, who's voiced by Liv Schreiber, who's great. And again, they took a little something from Daredevil of all things. They give him Vanessa in the Sun. I don't know if he actually has a Vanessa in the comics. Maybe in some, but in this, I know it predominantly from Daredevil. Their Scorpion's very much different. We never saw Scorpion in that anyway. For a fact, their Doc Ock is a woman. It's Doc Ock played by Catherine Hahn. Lydia Octavius or something like that, who is basically taken from the Spider-Man 2099 universe. Because that's it's not exactly, but it is a nod because the Doc Ock in that universe is a woman. The Green Goblin, that's what I knew for a fact we were not in the Tobey Maguire universe, is this giant hulking beast with wings and everything. I can't remember if they did. Oh, you saw Tombstone. They threw a lot of Spider-Man villains in there and just assumed, yeah, you gotta go with it. By the way, I really like the way they designed Doc Ock. Isn't just in here for like a brief minute. She is not integral, but she is a secondary villain overall. She is there for a little while. She's the one who built the Collider. So when we find out who she is, because I'm like, oh, she's Doc Ock, cool. And it's almost like her tentacles are made of like this hollow, almost like a tubing, but they're still powerful. And then she's there in the final battle, which is because she shows up when they go into Aunt May's house. So it was really fun. It's just really good in how it's handling so many characters at once, but still keeping the focus on Miles Morales. It is his story. It's relationship with his family. His relationship with his father. He loves his mom. He loves his dad. It's a little strain on his dad because his dad is kind of making him go to a school, trying to go on a path that he doesn't not want to go on, but he doesn't want to be on. He doesn't want to be forced on it, and even his dad's not giving him a chance. You have an opportunity, and I'm going to make you take that opportunity. So, and he even says like, you don't have a choice. But later they do come to understanding of how things kind of go, and he realizes, his dad realizes that he's being hard on him to maybe a bit too much. Miles knows his dad loves him, and it's really great to see this character come into his own. Because for the majority of the film, he's not terribly. He's in over his head, but there's a level still of competence because he still has these abilities he's getting used to. He's still able to fend for himself on some level. So by the time we actually get to the point where he is finally able to come into his own, create his own spider suit, which I like how he just kind of spray paints over his Spider-Man suit and makes his. I always liked the Miles Morales suit, by the way. I always thought that looked good. But yeah, by the time we get to that and how he finally has gotten over his fears about all this and how he's actually confident now, it makes the final act really, really fun, just really good to watch, really entertaining. And someone brought this up. I'm not going to say who the reviewer is, but you probably know him. He does not like the show Supergirl because of how they pretty much have just shit on the character of Superman. And to be fair, I didn't hate the first season of Supergirl, but from what I've been told, because I never got around to watching season 2. But from what I've been told about seasons with the stuff they did with Superman, yeah, I'd agree. I'm not a huge Superman fan, though. Some stories have made me like him more than others. But I'm a Batman guy more than the Superman guy. I don't hate Superman. I just find him kind of boring normally. But he's still Superman. You don't put over Superman, or you don't put down Superman to put over Supergirl. You don't do that. You don't put down Batman to put over Rob, which I hope to God they don't do in Titans. I haven't watched Titans, but their season finale is Batman versus Robin, and they have a Batman there, and he's apparently going crazy and killing people. Oh God. Point being, the reason I bring that up is because they did it right. They didn't put down Peter Parker to raise up Miles Morales. Peter Parker is still pretty much the definitive Spider-Man. Even with all these other Spider people there, he's still the definitive Spider-Man. And it's really, really good to see them give the due that both these guys need. Because it's important. And you know what's great about this in the long scheme, or the grand scheme of things, grand scheme, long haul, long-term effects of this, is that the way everyone's responding to this, the way people are just saying, oh, how good it is, and it's good. It's really good. It's got heart. It's got action. It's got a little bit, it's got some suspense. I would even say you actually see Kingpin kill Spider-Man, for God's sake. So, be wary for your kids a little bit. I'd say any kid above 6 could probably take this. Yeah, they should be fine. There's a few moments of kind of scary imagery for like really young kids, but any kid 6, 7, it's definitely 7 or over, I'd say. That's what I think would be 7 or over. I think that they would be happy in that. Just, and even below, they should be good. Just be a little wary about that. But long term, what I think is real, what this really shows is the fact that everyone's responding. Everyone I'm hearing is loving this. Miles Morales, Sony is trying to see if they can do stuff besides Spider-Man. That's why Venom was something they tried, and it worked. I mean, critically, audience response was a lot better than the critics' response, but box office speaks for itself. The film's made almost like 7 million away from 860. I think it'll close out around 860. It shows that we could see later on in Sony's career or Sony's history, or really in any, a lot more diversity and changes to the general comic format, because we all know Spider-Man as Peter Parker. But hey, look, we have a Miles Morales as Peter Parker, or as Spider-Man. And people seem to really like that. I loved Miles' character in this. He was a very relatable kid. His relationship with his uncle, I mean, you felt for that, especially when the tragedy happens where he decides not to kill his nephew who he cares about, and Kingpin shoots him down. And the scene where he dies is pretty touching and pretty heartfelt. It shows that we could see, not necessarily a Miles Morales live-action Spider-Man, because I don't think they can do that so long as they got a deal going on right now. Unless, follow me on here, unless we see in the live-action movies that be a plot point where it's not just Peter Parker anymore, it is also Miles Morales. Unless we see that, I don't expect us to see a live-action Miles anytime soon. However, that said, we could see at some point live-action other interpretations of these characters. You know what? I'd be down for Spider-Gwen series. A Spider-Man Noir? Hell, I love playing Shattered Dimensions. The Spider-Man Noir stuff in that is awesome. And the Spider-Man Noir we saw in this was cool. So, animated, live-action, I'd be pretty... I don't know if I'd go with the Penny Parker one. That one I might be just because I don't know how much of that I could really... She was great as a side character, but I don't know how much of that I could stomach for a whole movie. And you know what? Same with Spider-Ham. I don't know how much of that I could stomach for a whole movie. But Spider-Gwen, I could be interested in that. Spider-Man Noir. Hell, Spider-Man 2099. I'd also be one of those guys who'd love to see a Batman Beyond, but I'm in the minority, just like Spider-Man 2099. Trying to think what other version... There's plenty of versions of Spider-Man. I'm just trying to think if I could see if I can think of any more off the top of my head. Right off the top of my head, I can't think of any other ones, because there's like Ultimate Spider-Man, but that's nothing you really have to focus on. There's 29 Noir and Classic Spider-Man. I mean, there's the whole like the Scarlet Spider arc and stuff like that. But honestly, it opens the door, is what I'm saying. Ultimately, it opens the door. Again, action is great. The actual story is beautifully done. Great. It's funny. It's heartfelt. There's a little bit of suspense in there. There's tension. There's some heavy moments in there too. It's not just the fact that you see Spider-Man get killed. You see people get killed. So, what would I give it? First of all, I recommend it completely. what would I give it? I mean, the only issue, and I mean it really is the only issue I actually had with this movie, and it wasn't for the entirety of the movie. It was really just for about, I want to say, I don't know, 10% of the movie, and it was only in increments of the movie, like snippets. The animation can be a little janky at points, looking kind of like it's trying to be 3D, but really it's kind of, I wouldn't even go 10% now that I think about it, probably more like a 6 or 7% of the time. And again, it's only in brief moments, like sparse moments that you notice it, if you're even looking for it. If you can ignore it, great. Yeah, honestly, I'll say this. This is probably one of the only movies this year I've given a 10 out of 10. I think this is honest to God 10 out of 10. I recommend it highly, absolutely. Go see it. Take your kids, take your family, take your girl, take your guy. Just have a good time with this. It's not just one of the best comic book movies of the year. It is just a solid anime movie, good movie, or a good superhero movie. It is just a damn good movie. It is probably going to get a best animated picture nomination. I have no. Right now, for me, it's probably in contention for best animated with Incredibles 2 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That is going to be. See, when the nominees for best animated get called for the Oscars, I'm almost certain these two are going to pop up. And I'll be honest, I don't know who I got in that race. Both those movies are fan-freaking-tastic. If I were to be the betting man, if I were to put $5 down on it, and I'd probably lose that $5. I might lean towards Spider-Man. But you know what? I could be wrong on that without an issue, and I would have no problem. Both of those movies would deserve it. I've heard Best Picture of the Year consideration. That one, I don't know if I'd go as far to say Best Picture of the Year. Is it one of the best movies I've seen this year? Taking out, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Is it one of the best movies I've seen this year? I'd have to go down the list of all the movies I've seen. If I were to think just off the top of my head, Quiet Place would be in my list. Honestly, Bad Times at the El Royale is probably in my list. Either Black Panther or Infinity War, one of them is probably in my list. I don't know if both is in my list. Yeah, honestly, not more thinking on it, the more, Green Book's definitely in my list. But yeah, the more I'm thinking on it, Stars Born, but the more I'm thinking about it, this might be in my top 10 of the year. If not, it's a runner-up for certain. But I guess we'll get to that when we get to that. We still got, the 15th? We still got 16 days before the end of December and the end of the year before I get to all those videos. So keep your eyes out, folks. Till then, though, and I'm not going to do I didn't bring my notebook for trailers this time around because I was pretty confident that we were going to get nothing but trailers I've already seen. And lo and behold, we got nothing but trailers I had already seen, including that goddamn Dog's Way Home. I'm sorry. That movies like because it's from the same guy who wrote A Dog's Purpose, which means I immediately am not going to like it. That's not 100% true, because at least it's not about a dog dying over and over again. Fuck A Dog's Purpose for that. No, just screw the manipulation on that. But that's the problem with this, is that it's just, I can tell it's just being manipulative with the emotions. Like, and every movie kind of is, but Dog's Purpose, something about that is just, I've seen these before, and it kind of, no, it doesn't even kind of, it pisses me off just how manipulative of their emotions of our emotions they're being, basically. It's like, oh, dogs, like, oh, and don't get me wrong, I love Homeward Bound. I even like the second one too, but so those kind of movies can work for me. But it's clear that I don't know. Maybe it's because it's too similar to A Dog's Purpose that you get that dog's inner monologue. Yes, cheese is everything. Maybe it's because it's too similar to that, where you get the inner monologue of the dog. Whereas in the other one, it's just these two animals talking to each other and going on an adventure together. Maybe that's it too. Ultimately, but it had 90s charm, Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound is a good example to actually bring that up about the emotional manipulation. I still get teary-eyed when I see Shadow come back over that hill. Yeah, you see it react. And I'm actually getting a little emotional thinking of that. I love Homeward Bound. Who doesn't love Homeward Bound? Come on. As when you see Shadow come back over the hill, you just see him reunite with his own. You just say, "Oh God, he gets the waterworks going." Come on, as a pet, as a guy who's owned a dog all his life, I can't remember a time when I did not have a dog. Well, I mean, I can remember a time, but basically, I've always been a dog owner. Like, I grew up having a dog. When she passed, we had a dog, and then that dog passed, and we went a few years without a dog. But we're like, no, we need a dog in the house. We got Domino. We love Domino. So as a pet owner, those kind of movies, I actually try. Besides Homeward Bound, because Homeward Bound is just a great movie in general. I try not to go see those movies because I don't need the emotional manipulation on me. I really don't. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point about things that don't matter. Besides that, we got that Uglyville. I hope to God I don't. Wait, when is that movie? Let me check real quick when that movie's coming out. Uglyville. Because if I can, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid seeing that. That looks like utter garbage. Utter trash. Uglyville. Alright, Uglyville. Let's see. Oh, God. Hold on. Uglyville movie. Alright. 2019. What month? Or what? Can I get an idea? Is there an actual? There has to be an actual. Is there an actual release date? That's what I want to know. And that way I can find out what is okay. It's May 3rd. Thank God, Captain Marvel's coming out that day. I don't have to see that shit. Okay. I've gone on long enough. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And if you have an idea for who would win, Star Wars, Superhero, Magic, What If, anything I do on this channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll do a video on that at some point. Should note, now that I bring that up, you can suggest the same video over and over, or suggestion over and over and over again. By the first time I've seen it, I've already written it down, so it's already in the book. It will eventually be addressed, and a video will eventually be made. But the more this channel continues to grow, the more people give me suggestions, the longer it's going to take for me to continue to cycle, because that's what I do. I cycle through everyone. I go through a continuous loop. The more people come and suggest things, the longer the loop becomes until I get back to the beginning point again. So it's not that I'm trying to ignore you. I want to give everyone who's giving me suggestions a fair chance. So that's just the way it is for both the what ifs, the who would wins, all of those that you give me suggestions on. So that's just the way that is. Because I know that there's people who, I've had some people ask me, why have you done any of mine? Trust me, I will eventually do some of yours at some point. It just is going to take a long time. But should note, the more you give me, the longer I won't have to really struggle to think of stuff to do for videos. And I can think of things to do. I can think of things to do for videos. It's not like I can. It's not like I'm lazy. No, if I want to, I can think of the who would wins I want. But it helps when people give me those things, and it makes this kind of a little community here, which I enjoy. So anyway, again, to reiterate, I'm digressing. Have a good day, folks. I'll be back with who would win, by the way.